participate in this so that it really does represent our community. So that when they do this research, it is about us. What else can I tell you? We provide some incentives to participants. As far as cash incentives, to me it's not enough to be like, yeah, that's the reason I'm going to do it. It's small tokens, but really I think people are involved with this because they see the benefit of health for our children for the future and want to be a part of that, and value their ability to give back to that process. So that's really what it's about, and little goodies along the way. But do you have any questions? Yes.
Is it open to any youth, or is healthy youth, or with cystic fibrosis or other, is it?
It is open to any woman who is pregnant or thinking about becoming pregnant.
Okay.
So we don't even know what might be going on with the child. Right. Right. Yeah. All the parts of the study it's all voluntary. So it's voluntary whether or not you would enroll if you're eligible, but even along the way, if there's you're just really busy one year or something about it, you don't like the idea of the research having that particular information, you can opt out of part of the study and still be involved in the rest. And they wouldn't be kicked out if there's some kind of issue going on with the child.
And you said they're green over 21, so is there a cutoff time for enrollment, for instance? I mean, because you
Before
can't
birth.
go,
Once they have the child.
No, I mean for you guys to get your participants.
Yes.
Because you don't want it to go 40 years.
Correct.
You
Yes. So our goal is locally is to recruit 100 people into this pilot phase that starts in the fall through January, and then every year after that recruit 250 participants for 4 years.
Okay.
So we'll end up with 1,100
So
participants.
how
for
long will the
CLS.
study actually go then?
21.
Right, but it'll actually go
Well, no, it'll be
26
20
years.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Because until the people
Before.
enrolled in year
Yeah.
4
Mhm.
are 21.
Okay.
Yep.
Got it.
It's a unique partnership at the national level between the Institutes of Health. I'm going to say these wrong. I'll look. Yeah, that's it, right. National Institutes of Health, Center for Disease Control, and the EPA. So that's a bit unique also. And then locally, our partnership involves Battelle, who I actually work for, but then Washington University, St. Louis University, SIU Edwardsville, and SIU Carbondale. Yeah, it's kind of cool that we're involved with it. Any other questions? Okay. Well, thank you very much for your time. I know you all have a lot going on. I could just announce the website in case you don't get this. It's very easy. It's nationalchildrenstudy.gov.
Hey everybody, I'm Mike Colonna. I'm your next unlisted speaker, but I only take about 1 minute 30 seconds of your time. For the new folks who are here, I'm your state representative from this area, which basically goes from Tower Grove Park down to St. Mary's High School on the south. Then we've got Grand on the east, almost all the way out to Hampton on the west. In case you've seen in the paper or in the news, we just wrapped up a special session down in Jefferson City tackling 2 issues, so I want to give you a quick report on that. Issue number 1 was an economic incentive package that we put together to try and keep the Ford plant out in Kansas City here in Missouri. If you don't know, Ford presently builds the F-150 pickup and their Escape small SUV out there. The Escape line is scheduled to close at the end of the year. Then Ford's faced with the decision of, do we take this plant and maybe consolidate F-150 production, because they got 3 shifts going there now. They can keep 3 shifts if they consolidate. Or do they try and bring their next generation fuel-efficient SUV to the Kansas City area and build it at that plant? The state of Kentucky offered Ford a $500 million or $500 million tax incentive plan to close Claycomo and come down to Kentucky. And the state of Michigan put together a $250 million package to try and get Ford to increase the production of the F-150 up there. Now what we did is that we told Ford that for each year, for the next 10 years, they can take a $10 million, in essence, tax break if they sink that $10 million into the plant to retool it. There's another portion of that bill that we passed. It's a $5 million program per year that's designed to go towards the suppliers. And we have 3,700 people in Missouri that work at the Claycomo plant, but we have 12,000 people that work in Missouri at the different supplier plants all throughout the state, whether they're supplying axles, like they've got an axle plant out in Columbia, or springs for the seats. We've got a spring plant out in St. Louis County. So $5 million per year is available to their suppliers if they put that money into their plans to expand or retain jobs as well. So it's not really a tax credit program where we just give it to them and they sell it to people. It's if you invest in your plant and you keep jobs here, you're eligible for this tax break. Now the other thing that we passed was in essence a program to help fund the state pension program. Just like the city has city employees, the state has state employees that have what we call a defined benefit system. In other words, when they retire, you know exactly how much money you're getting a year. You know whether or not your insurance is going to be paid for, whether or not your life insurance is going to continue to be paid for. It's one of the most expensive benefit programs in the country, but the idea is the state and the city pays so daggone well, we should have something that's a carrot out there to attract some good employees. So that's what we've done. We've got a really good pension program for our state workers. What we did was tweaked our financing system. We asked the state employees to contribute 4% of their take-home pay. We also expanded the age that they can retire by a total of 5 years. So you used to be able to retire at 62, now you can retire at 67. And we also decided to keep the state teachers pension program out of that plan. So in any event, that's it in a nutshell. I did bring these little directories for those of you that I haven't met and put them over there on the board. My telephone number's in there, my email address is in there. If you have any follow-up questions or questions about what's going on in Jeff City as a whole, please feel free to send me an email or give me a call. Any questions? Christian, thanks for letting me come in unannounced tonight. I appreciate that.
Sure.
Okay, Mike.
Mike Flood's here. He's our 10th Ward Neighborhood Stabilization Officer. NSO, Judy Lane. Everybody knows what NSO is, right?
Yeah.
All right, so Judy Lane couldn't be here tonight, but Mike is. And we can open the floor and talk about the crime, too. Maybe Mike can give us some kind of information. But he is 10th Ward.
Yeah, I've been doing this 21 years, and it seems like whenever there's a hot button problem in an area, the other people don't show up.
Oh, wow.
I don't know why that is. Somehow I always end up trying to find this out. But before we start, I understand that's a major concern, and if it was happening to me, I'm sure I'd feel the same way. But is there anyone from the 10th Ward here? Wow, it's a record. Anybody from the 10th, I have a question. I'm personally trying to do a little survey of the 10th and 23rd wards, as I cover both of those. Do you know of any foreclosed or vacant buildings on your block? I'm just trying to follow up. I have a couple of reasons. Number one, we're trying to track those and make sure they're getting mowed or cited properly. We're also, your state rep just left and I just garnered him, and I deal with about 3 state reps in my wards. And I'm trying to get the state to do something about the fact that if you've been in some neighborhoods and you see the kind of infamous white signs in the empty windows, you can tell it's a foreclosed building. And for some reason, most of the time, the banks don't record that they now own the building. So we're sending letters and grass cutting bills, etc., to the guy who doesn't even own the property anymore. So I'm trying to get the
Might help if
state.
you let people know what the boundaries of the 10th ward is.
Well, I could do that. The 10th Ward, I have the south side of Hartford from Bent. You can go down Bent to the alley behind Hope, up back. And then you get to Morganford and we hang a right. You go to Tholosen. I have the north side of Tholosen all the way out. Well, I mean, for Targo South, that'd be out to Kings Highway. And then I have the east side of Lackland, and then Portis and Alfred from Arsenal to Tholosen on that side of Morganford, and on this side, just from the south side of Hartford to the old Nap Monarch plant and all that down there off of that. So